What is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today we are back in GTA 5 taking a look at the highly requested Osiris. Now, this thing just entered into the game. Well, I shouldn't say it just entered into the game. It's been in the game for a couple of days now, but I've been covering the Forza Horizon 2 Porsche pack recently, so I didn't really have a chance to get my hands on this car right when it first came out. Now, we are on the Xbox One version of the game, and I wanted to actually cover this car primarily on the PC version, but due to some complications with the PC version currently, I had to switch it over to Xbox One, which unfortunately means this video will not be in 60 FPS, but we're still going to be able to test this car, so we're still going to be able to test the car, still be able to do a build on it, so it's pretty much a win either way. Now, the looks of this car are incredible. You look at that back end and you immediately know Pagani Huayra. That's immediately where you go when you look at the back end of this car. It's very, very Pagani Huayra. The front end has a touch of the Huayra in it. It also has a touch of the LaFerrari in it as well. But the front end is kind of a, like I said, it's a mixture. You can kind of go whichever way you want on that. But the rear is definitely drawing inspiration straight from the Pagani Huayra. Now, we're going to drive this thing around a little bit in stock form so you guys can see it, hear it, see how it performs. And then we're going to take it and do a full build of it and see what we can do with it. Now, the sound, let me just go ahead and rev it up real quick, see if you guys can hear it. Yeah, it shoots flames like crazy. I think this shoots the most flames stock out of pretty much any car I've ever tested in GTA 5. Now, we're going to go ahead and take it straight into the... Actually, no, you know what? I completely forgot to show you guys a test drive of it. Now, the handling is actually... It's actually really good. It's really pointy. It's very responsive, and you're never quite... You're never quite worried that, you know, like, oh, am I going to miss that corner? Or, oh, am I going too fast to approach this corner? Do I have enough time to brake? You never really have any of those concerns with this car because while it is extremely fast in a straight line, the brakes are really, really good. You just really have to tap them, and you're pretty much good to go for any corner you're going to be going around. The grip is really good, the level of grip is really good, and even if you want to rip the e-brake and, you know, give it just a little bit of a drift around a corner, you can do that too because it's actually really controllable on the limit, and you can just slide this thing wherever you want. Now, before we do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and do a build on this thing because there's not... I wouldn't say that I would say there's not a lot of a point in doing any kind of like straight line stuff before we do a build because there's no actual speedometer. So it more comes down to feel at that point. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. Now, I know we're going to change the color. I'm not a huge fan of the orange on this particular car. I love orange on supercars. It's actually not really orange. It's kind of like a mixture of yellow and orange. It's kind of like almost like a dark yellow that looks a little bit orange in the shadows, but I think the big thing with this car is the fact that you've got to find a color that really works for you and that you think works for the car. So let's go ahead and do, well, we'll do race brakes first because why not? Why not make the thing stop better? Now let's see. Oh, wow. Oh, yes. Secondary color. Okay, primary color race splitter, secondary color race splitter, carbon race splitter. And then you got the street splitter, which unfortunately we don't have. But you know what? I actually like the race splitter better than the street splitter, personally. So, let's go ahead and go with the carbon race splitter. I think that looks awesome. From there, actually, no, I've completely forgotten about the rear of the car. We could go with a race diffuser or a stock diffuser, which pretty much the stock diffuser is what comes on the car anyway. So we're going to go with the race diffuser. Now, for the engine, just going to go ahead and full out level 4, full build, maximum power. And then for the exhaust, we've got, let's see, we can have the standard dual exit, a oval exhaust, a race exhaust, or a chrome tip exhaust, which the chrome tip exhaust, you can't really see it, unfortunately. That's a little odd. But we're going to go with the race exhaust because race exhaust. And for the explosives, we're going to leave that alone. I don't think I want this car blowing up anytime soon. Now, for the fenders, we can either go with the stock fenders or the race wing vents. Now, those look really cool. I think they look great, actually. I think they add a nice little bit of extra flair to the car. Some people may think they're a little bit ricey. I don't at all. Now, let's see. Horn will mess with that later. Lights. Let's see. Xenons for sure. Neons, we're probably not going to go with any of that. But you know what? I do want to see just how it looks. Just for fun. Just for fun so you can see how it looks. You know what? It actually doesn't look too terribly bad. But still, no. That's not what this car is for. The plate, we'll do that later. Color, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that at the end of the build. For the skirts, we can do the primary color race skirts, the secondary color, or the carbon. Again, with the carbon. Definitely the carbon. Now, for the wing, we've got a race wing, which is admittedly a pretty high for being, you know, like a kind of a standard wing. And then the GT wing, which the GT wing is something that you'd find, obviously, on pretty much a race car. And again, I know that a lot of people are going to call out race for these wings, but you know what? They're actually not too bad. I kind of prefer the race wing over the GT wing. I think the GT wing, I mean, I'm sure the GT wing is really functional, but at the same time, it doesn't really suit the lines of the car, whereas the race wing really does suit the lines of the car, at least in my opinion. I like it. Now, let's see. For the gearbox, race gearbox for sure, and then definitely full turbo. Now, the wheels, I like the stock wheels a lot. But, you know what, actually, yeah, I was going to say, we can't change the color of the stock wheels, unfortunately, but we're going to see what, as far as what we can actually get for aftermarket wheels that actually looks good on this car. I'm certain it's going to be something carbon. Something carbon is going to have to be, actually, you know what, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that because I'm going to do a little bit of a different theme with the wheels and then the color of the car. So, let's go to the sport wheels and see if there's anything we like in there. And then from there, we'll do a little bit of a different paint scheme. Those actually look really good. So do those. God, picking wheels is like the most difficult thing you could possibly do sometimes. You're like completely, because you want the wheels that are going to look good, but at the same time, there's so many different wheels that actually look good on the car. Those look good. But you know what? At the same time, those look really good too. And so do those. See my dilemma here? But you know what? I think actually we're going to go ahead and settle for those. And then we're going to go back and do, we'll do custom tires and bulletproof tires just because. And then we'll go ahead and respray the car. And then we'll do the wheels. So I'm going to try and make the car a little bit more of a neutral color so I can go a little bit more crazy with the wheel color. So let's see, we're going to go for a metallic, probably like a metallic silver, and then, yeah, kind of like a metallic silver, and then I might want to match the secondary color to the wheels. I think that might look kind of cool. Let's see. That green looks nice, but you got to remember we're going to try to do the wheels in whatever color we go with as well. That looks really good. Now let's just see what happens when we try to match the wheels. It might look good, it might not. I don't know, we'll see. That actually doesn't look too bad. It really doesn't. I mean, it's different. It's not your normal average color scheme, but it is different, and it doesn't look too bad. So we're actually going to go with it. And for the windows, do we want limo tint? Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's go ahead and see what this thing can do now. Now, as far as power, I'm sure it's going to be good to go, and as far as handling, I'm sure it's going to be great. But let's take it to the highway first off and see how it does as far as straight line goes. And it's quick. It actually sounds quite a bit different too. It's not just louder, the tone of the car is different. It is very quick for sure. The performance of this thing, it's funny because some of the cars in GTA you can really tell, and some of the others you can't tell as much. This one you can really tell, like as opposed to stock, it's a lot faster for sure. And I can't wait to start testing this out on some online races, some stunt tracks, because I feel like, I'm not quite sure, but I feel like the front end of this car is not quite as long as, I'm completely forgetting the other car right now, but the one that's a mixture between the LaFerrari and the P1, and I feel like that car has a ton of issues with jumps and loops and things like that, whereas I feel like this car, I mean, sure, it's low in the front end, but I feel like it's not quite low enough to have that kind of an issue. So I'm actually quite excited to see how it does as far as stunt tracks go. Now, the straight line speed, while it is good, is not the dominating factor for this car, at least for me. We're going to have to test it out on some corners and see how it does with that. Now, we're probably going to, actually, you know what? We're We're going to cross over the highway, and because I believe the road that's coming up has some nice sweepers. I should have turned right there. I should have turned right there, I just realized. Let's go. And let's actually see how this thing looks from the... Whoa. From the inside. I mean, while it's a similar interior view to a lot of the other supercars, it is still a nice view. Although, we're not going to be spending a lot of time in there because the exterior view... When you got a car like this, you just kind of want to stare at it, and the exterior view definitely gives you the opportunity to do that pretty much all the time. Oh yeah, the handling is... Ow! The handling is ow. Yes, it is. No, it is when you hit a traffic car, but at least before we hit the traffic car, it actually turned in a lot quicker than I thought it would, which is one of the reasons why we ended up going so far to the inside and hitting that traffic car in the first place. I'm going to go ahead and turn around right here. We don't need to mess with that area. Doesn't really offer anything for this car. It's just like really low speed stuff. It's pretty much an autocross in there. And this car, you really want to deal with more high speed cornering. I'm sure it wouldn't do too bad, but at the same time, it's not what it was made for, and it's definitely not what we customized it for sure. But yeah, the speed at which you can carry through, the speed that you can carry through corners in this car is definitely worth getting for sure. I mean, yes, this car is quite pricey, I mean, as far as GTA money goes, but at the same time, you got to think about the fact that it's one of the best all-around performing cars that I've ever driven in GTA. It really is, as far as, especially with handling, it really loves to corner. See what we can do. Whoa, God, that's close. And wow, pull out in front of me, thank you very much. And the thing is, it's actually not damaged too much. I mean, it's scratched a little bit, but it's actually not damaged too badly, which is nice. Now, I think the thing too with this car is the fact that it's not too focused on one thing, but at the same time, it's not like it's trying to be everything. It's just trying to be the best supercar it can be. And a good supercar is a good all-rounder, you know? I mean, a good supercar is not just straight line, and a good supercar is not just cornering and no straight line either. You gotta have a balance. And this thing is pretty much, it seems like it's pretty much the king of balance, to me anyway, as far as a balanced level of performance. It takes everything to a level that a lot of cars can't get to, while maintaining a level in pretty much everything else that a lot of cars can't get to either. So it's pretty much the best kind of package you can have. And it also spits flames like nobody's business. This thing absolutely shoots fire out the exhaust. You can't even argue with that. And you know what? No, we don't want to go off-road. That's the only thing that this car's not made for, is off-road. I see gravel, I turn around. Except for with Mount Chiliad. I probably will do a run of Mount Chiliad in this car, just to kind of have some fun with it and see what it'll do. And also just to see if we can get it up the mountain, going at a relatively fast pace without jumping off the side. So that's definitely a test that I plan on doing later on. But we'll keep this thing on the pavement at least for a little while. And oh my God, woo! That was right at the edge of the back end of the car. Wow, that could have been so much worse, but I'm really glad it wasn't. Really glad it wasn't. And there's a road coming up where we can actually really test the cornering abilities of this car and try and string some corners together. Unless it's dirt, which it is, which we're not going. Oh, God. Although, oh, yes. I believe this road coming up here has a good bit of cornering. Whoop. There we go. Or at least a decent set of corners. All you gotta do is just brake, it downshifts straight away, and you're good to go. It really just wants to throw itself at corners and carry the absolute most speed that it possibly can. Weaving in and out of traffic, keep it going. Excuse me, Sand King. And wow, so many of those RVs out. Tons of them, and I know that a lot of them spawn on this area of the map, but still, that's a lot. But yeah, you know what? This thing, I can definitely say that it's going to be one of my most used cars for racing. It is definitely one of the cars that I am really excited about having in my garage. I can see it being something I'm going to use a lot, and I highly recommend that you guys give this thing a shot, because it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's extremely fast. It looks great. and I think it's definitely worthy of a place in anybody's garage, no matter how many other supercars you have in there. I think it's definitely, again, worthy of a spot. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave me a like, tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later.